phone last week after 8 years. I threw away all the phones when Rocky died. When Marilyn Miller died, we called her Rocky. She wasn't but 98 pounds, big tits, and a big mouth. First 30 years I went on to do with her, she started stalking me. I said, what the hell are you doing at this club? I was playing pool and shit in a league. She said, I'm stalking you. I said, what the hell are you talking about? She said, that's what I'm doing. I said, you want anything? She said, I like a beer and a pack of cigarettes. I'll go get it. I get it for her, and I go back to playing pool, and I come back out, she'd be gone. She was a trippy little chick. Real trippy kind of person. Free. Actually, she was the freest person I ever met, I think. Besides myself, I've always been a free spirit.
Don, where did you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I was born in Hortonville, Wisconsin, and had me in a closet upstairs in the farmhouse for the first 5 years in 1955. Well, in 54, my mother's husband got out of a reformatory, and two brothers to the girl he raped beat him to death with lead pipes. My mother found him in bed, dead. So, my dad got out of the service real quick. My dad was scared of Miles Carpenter. And he got out of the service, took me out of the closet. Same month, my grandmother died of a broken heart, they said. I was all she had. She walked to church every morning, gave all the money she made every week to the church. And my grandmother died a month after my dad took me away from her. I still see her. I don't know why.
You were kept in a closet for what?
5 years.
And
I never had no shoes on, never had no clothes, just a smock.
Why were you kept in a closet?
Secret. If Junior Carpenter would have found out I was born while he was in prison, he'd have probably killed my dad. Junior Carpenter was a farmer, him and his brother and dad, they all owned their own farms. He was young too. And I was just a big secret. They called me Tronzy. And I asked my dad when I was 13, I said, what the hell does Tronzy really mean? He said, it means trouble. You were born on the coldest day of my life. That's what he told me. I'd rather have him shot me right in the heart. Weird.
How would you describe your childhood?
Didn't have one. Pretty much. But anyway, the old man took me to Clark Street, a little bitty house, and then he bought a 2-story house with 3 bedrooms on Charlotte Street. That's when, like the Elm Street, that's when the nightmare started. I mean, he raped my mom, beat her, and beat us, and locked the refrigerator. But he couldn't get in and go to work for 2 weeks. He'd come back 2 weeks later. My poor mom would just struggle and get food and feed us and shit. I told him when I was young, I said, when I get old enough, I said, I'm gonna kick your ass for what you're doing to Mom and all of us. I was 15, I put a licking on his ass he never forgot. But then I made an enemy out of my own dad somehow. And
How far did you go in school?
I went 2 weeks in high school. But I went to a lot of vocational schools. I mean, at 15, when I went to the reformatory the first time, I worked for the tailor shop. My mother knew the guy real good. They were drinking buddies. My mother was alcoholic, my dad didn't drink. But anyway, my mother told me to go in and tell him about me. I said, like what? That you can fix anything. And I can. I built my first go-kart when I was 11. I couldn't get to go over 45, so I called my Uncle Porky, Jerry Hendricks. I said, how come I can't get this to go over 45 miles an hour? I can't outrun the cops. He said, I'll come over and I'll pick up a gearbox for you. I said, what do you mean a gearbox? He says, like shifting a car, stick shift, I didn't understand too much about that, but he went and got it. So we had both wheels to drive. And 95 miles an hour, the cops clocked me. I had it hit all the time. They went to my dad, and my dad told them where it was hit at. And they took my go-kart away. They may as well just cut my throat at that point, because it wasn't nothing really good to live for back then. And in 61, they poisoned all of us. I mean, my brothers almost all died.
For what?
Ptomaine poisoning. My mother didn't do it on purpose. My dad would come home and see, like, hamburger in the sink thawing out. He'd throw it back in the freezer. He did that all the time. And they thought my mom and him planned to kill us. But I was the one that they didn't think they were going to kill, because I didn't get sick the 2 weeks after they were all in the hospital. So they figured they'd poison me afterward, because I was Francis's favorite, her oldest son. See, I'm the oldest Castilian alive right now.
How old are you now?
I'm 71.
71.
I was born January 28th, actually 1949, but my dad went and had a birth certificate made for me in 1955 from his doctor in Hortonville, Wisconsin. He gave him $50. He couldn't remember when I was born. It was 49 or 50, so he put down 50. January 28th he remembered, but he didn't remember what year. The only reason I know all that stuff is because my grandmother on my mother's side, Laverne Guyette, she was a school teacher, a third grade school teacher back then. And she told me all about names, but I don't know why I can remember all that stuff. And when I turned 55, I lived on Owens and Main Street in that retired elderly apartment complex there. I lived with Marie. Well, her name was Alberta Walker. We called her Marie. She was a control freak, but she was awful good to me. I mean, she always made sure I had a walk-in closet, my own bedroom, everything. And rides everywhere, and scooters for the casinos and stuff. She made sure I always had everything. I don't know why, but she did. And I was a pretty good hustler back then. I mean,
But you had jobs throughout your life?
all my life.
What kind of jobs?
Well, tree trimming a lot. I did mechanics. I worked in junkyards. I worked at Gulper's paper place. It's about the worst job in Appleton, Wisconsin. So that's where I grew up, in Appleton. I was born in Hortonville. In 55, he brought me out of Hortonville in Appleton and put me in the public school. Hey, I couldn't get along with nobody because I didn't know nothing. I didn't know about other kids. They put me in a special education. They'd take me from one school to another school. And then my mother would get all the neighbors' clothes, and some of them kids would pick on me like, that used to be my shirt last year and shit like that. Then the fighting started. I was in trouble all the time. And they called me Tronzy because I was trouble.
You've been married?
One time. I married her in 1973, a year after I got out of prison. The neatest person in the world. She bought me my first Harley. I had 2 Triumphs and a BSA, a 56 BSA, all chopped out. She said, what do you want for your birthday, honey? I said, a Harley? She said, you already got bikes. I said, but they're not a Harley. I said, they're not race grinders, but they're not a Harley. So she went to the police station, I think it was in 74, in LA, and bought it from the police department when they went from Harley to Honda. Now they're back to Harley, you know, here too. Honda's a better bike than a Harley in a lot of ways. Not real loud, they stay together. You can take a road trip across country 100 times with a Honda. A Harley, you gotta stop 100 times on the way there to fix it. And that's the way it was. I chopped it out. It took me 2 weeks. Made an 18 over on it. I used wide glide tubes with a narrow glide frame. I put a 36-inch 60 bar on it. I put suicide on it. I stretched the old frame. I couldn't afford a jammer frame at the time. So I stretched the frame. I was living in San Gabriel, San Dimas then. I bought a $99,000 house on the government's land for a 99-year lease. I was only paying like $275 a month. My wife went and got a job at a ice cream place in the courthouse, so we'd always have the rent no matter what. And I dealt a lot of drugs.
How was your marriage?
Awesome. She took a madman and brought him down to earth. Yeah, when I met her, I was uncontrollable completely, crazy as hell. You didn't want to say too much to me because I'd just go violent. Right now my eyes are green, right? A couple months from now they'll be blue again. I have bedroom blue eyes. But when they're green, I'm extremely violent. I mean, I beat up some men that are 300 pounds and shit like that. How? I don't know. It's just the way it was.
How long did your marriage last?
About 9 years. She's been dead about 47 years now.
Your marriage ended because your wife passed away?
Yes.
How did she die?
A semi hit our 68 Camaro. She wanted to drive that day, and I had big fat tires on the back. I had 327 in it. I mean, I had torsion bars on it. I had shift kit in the transmission. I mean, the baby would stand right up. She'd pick right off the ground if you punched her hard enough. And I just put these big tires on it. I told her, I said, if you want to drive, when we go on the on-ramp, don't punch it. She punched it, stood still. Semi runs right over. That was really something I never expected or thought about or anything. I still miss her.
After your marriage, were there other relationships?
Well, it took a long time after that. I pretty much stayed alone. I was too worried about another woman dying around me or because of me or whatever. You know, I went and made a hot rod for the streets. The car wouldn't have stood still. You know? But anyway, I'll tell you what happened in Port Queens. I went to my favorite machine. There was a dark-haired chick sitting next to it. Machine next to it. I went to sit down. She said, I've been waiting for you.
Fort Queens Casino?
Yeah. She said, I've been waiting for you, Don. I said, excuse me? You need help or something? She says, no, I've been waiting for you. I have something for you. I said, you all right? So Don used to always give me $130 a week, no matter what. If I had pocket money, or I wouldn't get in trouble and shit. Well, she hands me a $100 bill, a $20 bill, and a $10 bill. I'm looking at it. What's this about? She said, somebody in your way in your past asked me to do this for them. I'm sure you know who it is. I said, what are you? She said, I'm a psychic. I own a psychic business here in town. And all of a sudden her husband come up, or her boyfriend, real big guy, and he said, honey, do you need me to go to the ATM machine and get more money for you or anything? She said, no, I think I got it all handled pretty well. He said, so you don't need me to do anything? She said, no. She said, we got it handled, don't we, Don? I said, I guess. I said, I just can't understand how she knew so much. But Donna somehow has been in contact with her. She's been gone 47 years. And I've always been alone because of it. Even when I got a girlfriend, I'm still alone. Why, I don't know. I walk alone. That's what I always say.
Gambling started for you at what age?
Well, I came here in 73 with my wife, Donna, and we rented a room over at Flamingo. I asked her, "You want to go downstairs and gamble with me?" She said, "No, I'm going to sit here and read a book." She was well educated. So I couldn't read till I was 16. I learned myself how to read with a dictionary and a Bible. But anyway, I said, "Well, I'm going to go downstairs." It was the old Flamingo then, the wooden structure. The casino part where all the tables were went way down in the ground, about 6, 8 feet. I went down there and I only took $125 down there with me. She said, "You sure that's enough?" I said, "That's plenty of money. If I can't win with $125, I don't want to gamble, right?" So I went down there and I watched for a while. And my little brother John was with me. He came with us out here. And he kept coming over and talking to me and said, "Why don't you just follow one of them old gals that are gambling?" There was a couple of them. I mean, they were gambling. The real deal, shaking the dice and doing everything. I'd pass to let her shake. She knew what she was doing. But anything she bet on, I couldn't bet the kind of money she was betting, but I could bet on everything. About 8 o'clock in the morning, I had $11,000. And I don't think it caused any problem, except for I went upstairs and went in my room and I threw the money on the other bed. And Donna said to me, "Who'd you rob?" I said, "You just took all the fun out of this." I said, "Why did you think I robbed somebody?" She said, "Because that's your M.O. from your past." I guess she was right, but
So what were your games, gambling?
craps, 21 mostly though. I like this one. I went down to, what do they call that place out there in the middle of the desert? Searchlight. I went down there and I played 21 a lot of times. That's where I'd go, or Laughlin. And I know Don Laughlin and all his kids and everybody. And I win a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. She used to say, "You're really good." I used to be able to count cards. But back then, the only thing I passed in school was math. So I could count cards real well. And they only had one deck in most places, instead of 2 or 3 decks. When they started using 3 decks, it messed everybody up. I can't count 3 decks. It just ain't going to happen. But yeah, I made a lot of money, 21 table and craps. But craps, I just followed somebody that knew what they were doing. I mean, you can stand back and observe your surroundings and bring yourself to a certain mood, and you can follow somebody around and do the exact same thing without them even knowing you're doing it.
But you enjoyed gambling? You enjoyed winning and losing both, or just?
Hey, I don't mind losing, but the whole thing is I'd rather win. But you don't go into the casino with the idea that you're going to win. I mean, a lot of people say, "I'm going to win tonight." Good luck, I hope so, But the truth is, gambling is more like relaxation if you want it to be. But most people get uptight and angry and pissed off because they lost money. Hell, I lost $1,800 some nights, $1,500. I mean, I used to have some money. I kept $20,000 in a shoebox in my closet over on Owens and Main. And my girlfriend used to say, "Why do you keep it in the shoebox?" I said, "That's the way I always did it. Buy it back. If I lost $10,000, I still had $10,000 to come back. But once you lose it all, it's hard to gamble against them. You got to have some kind of odds, some kind of leadway.
So you've been gambling for how many years?
Since '73.
You're still gambling now, or?
No, I was out yesterday.
Yeah.
I was out this morning. Yesterday I went out with $20, I made $203. And then I gave my girlfriend some money, and she lost it all. So I've stuck $20 in the machine. I said, sit down here and play this with me. She hit $600. She gave me $100. And I blew that.
So you're playing slot machines as well?
Yeah, I didn't do that until about, God, it was after Don was gone. I always played on the tables because slot machines, that's where the casinos get all their money. The tables are totally different, and the best paid thing is roulette. You know, a lot of people don't know how to play roulette. All you do is throw a $20 bill on 4 spots. You know, like 8, 5, 7, 6, whatever. You know, a group here, there, everywhere. You usually come out, but it's the biggest odds, $20 to $1. You know, but I like 21. I like craps. Craps are an exciting game. It's all about the hype, who's throwing the dice and all this and that.
You're addicted to gambling?
Yeah, probably.
So today you're living homeless on the streets here in Las Vegas?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How long have you been homeless?
I think about a little over 2 years now, I guess. I lost my motorhome a little over 2 years ago. And then after that, I rented an apartment over on Van Buren, 409 Van Buren, West Van Buren, apartment 1. Well, my little girlfriend, she was only, early 30s. Her life wasn't exciting enough having an apartment. So she wanted to go live on the streets. So we went and lived on the streets. And I've been there ever since.
What would you blame gambling for why you're in the situation you're in today?
No, I got to blame Donnie, myself. I wouldn't blame gambling. I think gambling is a home wrecker. Some people can handle it, some people can't. I can go out there and lose every dollar I have and not bitch about it. I say, damn, why did I do that? But everybody else be crying and whining. What am I going to do?
Would you say you had a good life, looking back at your...
I had an excellent life. Very interesting life. Some of it was pretty shaky. I remember when I used to be scared when I was young. Scared of what? I don't know. I think of adults. Adults were always my biggest problem. I was a man at 15 years old. I mean, now I'm a boy. Do you understand that? It's scary sometimes. I think of Donna every day. I have always. I know she's close to me somewhere. It's like, really made me freak. I was freaking when she tell me all that stuff. When she gave me the $130, she said, does this mean something to you? I said, that's what Donna gave me every week, $130 for pocket money. But I used to like to go to all the casinos, Reno, I mean, everywhere. I mean, I've sold my vans, my cars, so I could go gamble. I mean,
Pawn shops?
Huh?
Pawn shops?
Oh, yeah. Pawn shops got my Bluetooth right now, my watch. I got a bitchin' watch from the 70s, from the 90s. And I got not the latest Bluetooth, the one before this last one that come out. It's 10 times better than the new one. I mean, it kick. I got it in there. I just got out my other Bluetooth last month, and I got something else. I got paint guns in there, things you shoot at each other, all kinds of stuff. I sold diamond ring I had forever. Had like 29 diamonds in it. Just before I go gamble, I went out to the railroad station, lost my ass. But I call it picking up sticks. If you lose everything, what do? You don't sit there with your head hanging down and whining. You go pick up sticks. Now they'll put your life back together.
All right, Don. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I wish you the best of luck out there.
And it was a pleasure talking to you, by the way.
Yeah,
You are a different kind of a man than most. A lot of these people out here, they don't have time to talk to nobody. Their lives are too congested, I guess. After a while, when you get into a comfortable zone, what the hell? As long as you get showers, clean clothes, I like doing laundry, I like washing dishes, and I love chasing women. You know.
All right, Don. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. My pleasure, by the way. You're a pretty neat man.